Thank you for joining me for another episode of Piccadilly Talks. Today we have Dr. Claudine McCalla-Miller and Karen McDonald Gayle. Ladies, welcome.
Thank you.
I'm very happy to talk with you today, and I want to start with a question on risk. What's the biggest risk that you've taken in your career? It's for both of you, but I'll start with you, Dr. McCalla-Miller.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and thank you for the question. The biggest risk I think I've taken in my career is studying for what I thought was my dream, settling in my dream job, and then doing it for a few years and starting to think, I love this, I'm good at it, but is this what I wanted to do forever? So if I'm going to do graduate work, what was I going to do it in? And so I decided, you know what, I'm going to do some thought about this. And I took a risk and I left everything that I knew behind me and went to a completely different field.
That's remarkable, because today you have a doctorate in psychology and you are telling us that that is not how you started.
No.
You have to tell us what you were studying before and how you made the decision to change.
Okay, before that, I did my first degree in IR, International Relations and Marketing. And so I started working in marketing and communications and PR. Got good at it, loved it. And then I said, okay, everybody's doing masters. I'm going to do a master's. And I said, what will this master's be in like? And that is where having good people around you helped. Because somebody said to me, don't go spend your money on a master's and then what you're going to do with it? Go make sure that you're doing the right master's. So I did some research, and that's how I settled on doing psychology. And so I had to say, all right, if I'm doing psychology, what type of psychology? I can't just jump from frying pan and into the fire and then decide I don't like it. So that's when I did the research and said, okay, that's going to be clinical. Is it going to be counseling? Is it going to be school? And that's when I settled on doing clinical psychology. But I'm going to let you talk to her a little bit, because my first degree might be in one area. Then I went and I did the master's in clinical psych, but then I did other studies and ended up in industrial and organizational psychology. Yes.
We'll have to come back to hear a little bit more about what brought you to psychology to make that change. But Karen McDonald Gayle, the same question is for you. What's that big risk that you've taken that has changed your career path?
I think it's an interesting question, because for me it is when I started doing consultancy. So I moved from what would be the 9-to-5 type of job and into consulting, which is working for yourself, earning for yourself. And I think for me it was a risk for two reasons. There was the support that I had from my wonderful family, but who never knew of this style of operating. For my mother in particular, she has service awards from her organization many decades. And so for her, where were you going and what were you going to do? And then just generally in terms of careers, just asking what will you don't have your path as defined, and it made for interesting times. But for me, it was where I needed to go to start, because I was looking for a new challenge, and for me, that was a new challenge.
That is where I'm thinking, why was it important for you to make that change, knowing that the risk was so great?
Yeah, I think it had a lot to do with where I was. I was the CEO of an organization in Jamaica, and we were doing environmental work that was of great interest. And after some years, you're like, what next? And what else do I do? And what else can I figure out? And I think as well, the landscape for careers is also new and different. And consulting, especially in the field of environmental work and development work, was definitely at a good point where you could think about those things.
It's so interesting, and I'm coming right back to you, Doc, you see, but sometimes persons think that they've accomplished so much. You're the head of an organization. The idea is stay there until it's time to live off of your pension. You know, what would you say to persons who may be at that stage where you are? Not the young people who are starting out and have that uncertainty, but the persons who have gotten to the top of their careers and are thinking of a change. What would be your top advice for them?
I think it would be to look carefully and make sure you see what you have ahead of you. So to use the similar example, I am now again head of an organization, but it's now a regional organization where there's so much scope and so much new variety that has come about. And today I say I will stay there for a long time. But again, you revisit. We talked a lot. We were talking before about how much personality changes, how much where you are changes in the world, where you are in life changes, and then you make those decisions when it's best.
You know a lot about changes, Dr. McCalla-Miller. You've mentioned that first degree, making the switch to psychology, arriving now at industrial psychology. What is your biggest lesson from the change that you made, your most valuable lesson?
Walking through the fair. Because if you think about it, as Karen mentioned, when you're leaving from what's certain, even though you've become so mastered in the area, you're the subject matter expert, but knowing that you're going to step out into the unknown, but still going with it. With that, just stepping out with that fear, knowing that nothing is promised, but if you prepare, if you do the research and you plan, you can execute it. Careers now, it's not a one and done. Back in the day when you started, back in the day when you started careers, it was like whatever you went to university and studied, or if you didn't go to university, teachers college, professional training entities, whatever it is you did, that's where you're gonna settle. But it's no more about that. If you are female, if you are dynamic, if you are engaging, you just can take advantage of whatever skill you have and just go with it, just go through the fair.
That's amazing to think of. You're an example of persons who are contemplating that thing and wondering if it will make sense. And it's the same thing. You've almost come back full circle, Karen, but it was on your terms. It wasn't because you wanted fear to keep you where you were, but no telling where the story will head. I want you to close out both with 30 seconds, each of you, to tell me what's next.
Who's going first?
What next? Anything. Because even if I get to the point where I think that I'm good at this now, I may be good at this now, but there may be something else. So I don't allow myself to be limited. I try not to teach my children that, and I'm always encouraging my friends with that. So anything is possible. I just have to see the interest, know that I like it, do the research, and go for it.
For me, I'm very big on giving back. I give back to my school, my high school. I was very big in starting up what happened with environmental work in Jamaica. So it has to be with building something that's bigger than me, that's bigger than the work I'm doing with the organization I'm with. It has to be about what can make environmental work the next step, the next big thing that is beyond all that I've done in the space that I'm in now.
Legacy, and paired with your thinking, a legacy that can take you anywhere. Ladies, thank you so much. Dr. Claudine McCalla-Miller and Karen McDonald Gayle. They joined me for a conversation about the future and about how it doesn't matter where we are, there's always the option to continue to dream. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
To start my business in high school at age 16, and I wanted basically to finance myself at an early age. Secondly, I just wanted freedom. And wanting freedom, I realized that the clothing business was the easiest thing to go into. So for like baking cookies or having a bake sale, that was not my thing because I'm not a kitchen person. So I would prefer to do the clothing. How I started, I had like some old jeans of my own that I de-stressed them learning from YouTube, and then I brought one to school, and that's how the first one was sold by my classmates. So it was about Champs time when everyone wanted to wear shorts, but I wasn't allowed to wear it, but I was just experimenting basically. And that's how it started for me. The next thing that I used for my career was to learn new people. Like when I went to Afro3, I would like walk around and talk to everybody who I normally buy from, because I used to buy clothes a lot. Going to friends' birthday dinners in high school, that's how I know store owners. So that's basically networking and knowing persons who, when I started selling, I would normally drop off stuff and then I go and collect the money from them. So that's how I learned about business. Persons would put me on to stores that would have like sales on jeans, and then I would have them as my suppliers. The first mistake that I made was, after I collect all those money, I spent it off. So I didn't have any money at all to restock. What I had to do was to ask my uncle for another start, and then getting that start, I took that money again and buy my first iPhone. So the common mistake that a lot of persons would make is that after they start the business and they start having money, they just use it and basically use it for the personal benefit and not to differentiate their money for restocking and for personal use. I would normally use it all for personal. So I'm always in trouble whenever it's time to restock. And I think it's a common problem now for other persons, but I have learned how to budget and how to have my personal funds aside, money for restocking, advertising, buying things that the business wants, such as like shopping bags, clothing tags, and money just for anything that is needed, like for shipping, or for if I need to pay taxes, like how tax season just gone. And basically just have a float remaining in case of anything. So like if I want to do a photo shoot, paying for a website. So that's how I split up all my money whenever I get it from the business. Yes, I have taken other steps to advance my career. I'm currently in the process of getting other stores to have my items sold, and I'm trying to have a website, and I recently started international shipping, so that is a plus for the business. It is important to get certification to advance your career, because you want to have a plan B. Basically, my business was my plan A, doing this degree, but parents wanted you to go to school, wanted college, and they wanted degree. I wanted to become a teacher, but in fifth form, when I started getting all those sales, and our form teacher told us that entrepreneurship would be the way of life soon or later, and we should start doing something for ourselves. I really took her advice, and I started my business. Just a small thing where you just sell things, but I took it very serious leaving high school. So I said I didn't want to work at all. So not wanting to work, I did a lot of research. I found a lot of storefronts that I mentioned before, and I just wanted my own business. But the degree, I just did it because it was just a thing that my family wanted. I didn't want to do it, but it is important, so you have a plan B. But my plan A is working for me now, but I still have my plan B.